All right. All right, everybody. Before we begin, I just want to quickly mention something. This is an informational webinar. Uh, it's designed for small business owners here in the Kentucky area. The goal is today is simple to help you understand what AI actually is, what is not, and how it can realistically help your business. Um, hope I said that right. And at any point in this presentation, if you have any questions after today's session, please reach out to Community Ventures. They're here to help support local businesses just like yours. All right. All right. So let me ask you a question. How many jobs do you have? I mean, seriously, not your title, not what your LLC paperwork says. How many jobs do you actually have? Because if you're a business owner today, you're not just the owner, your customer support, accounting, marketing, sales, HR, tech support, your social media, you're the therapist, sometimes you're the janitor. And sometimes in the middle of that, you're you're supposed to still be a husband, wife, parent, a human being. You know what I mean? That's why that's what today is about, right? Not future robots, not replacing people, not not Silicon Valley buzzwords. Excuse me. Um, sorry. Today is about something a little simpler, right? How AI can give you and your business, your life back, right? A little about me. I'm Steve Berry. Uh, I've spent probably 2 decades working with entrepreneurs, startups, family businesses, anybody on Main Street over the years, I've noticed something. Most small business owners are not lazy. They are not unmotivated. They're not failing because they don't care. They're drowning because they care a little too much. They try to carry every single responsibility themselves. And eventually this the business starts consuming the person who built it. So what I became obsessed with was this question. How do we help business owners remove the pressure without losing quality? And honestly, AI is the first technology I've seen that can genuinely help ordinary business owners do that. So here's where we're gonna go today. First, we're gonna talk about the thousand hat reality, why good intentions don't scale. And then we're going to completely reframe what AI actually is, because most people think it's a robot replacement. I think it's something much more useful, more like a partner. And after that, I'm going to show you real stories from real business owners, not billion-dollar companies, regular small business, regular people. And then we'll learn prompt engineering. And don't let that phrase scare you. It's basically, how do you talk to AI so it actually helps you? And finally, I'm going to help you leave here with one action, not 50, not some overwhelming strategy. One hat removed. So here's the problem with small business ownership. Most businesses are built on good intentions. You care deeply, you work hard, you sacrifice, you stay late, but eventually hard work hits a ceiling because there's only one of you. And this is where people get trapped. They think, I need to work harder. No, what they actually need is leverage. That's the difference. So I want you to meet Maria. Maria owns a flower shop in Austin. Now listen, because Maria is probably somebody in this chat, she wakes up at 5:30 in the morning because most people have had coffee. She's already dealing with Google reviews, tax forms, Instagram reels, vendor invoices, customer calls. It's not even 7 a.m. yet. Now, here's what's dangerous about this. When you live like this long enough, it starts feeling normal. You normalize exhaustion. You normalize the stress, you normalize the chaos, and eventually you forget what operating with clarity even feels like. Look, let's look at this statistic real quick, right? 82% of small business owners say burnout is their number one threat, not competition, not inflation, tariffs, marketing. No, burnout. And this is important. Burnout is not usually caused by one catastrophic moment. It's death by paper cuts, tiny responsibilities, stacked endlessly, and eventually the owner breaks. This is not a motivational problem. This is a capacity problem. This distinction matters because motivated people don't need more guilt. They need more support, right? Now, let's change the conversation around AI because the media talks about AI like it's some scary robot takeover. That's not how small businesses should think about it. You're not hiring AI to replace yourself, you're hiring it to remove the friction. That's really it. AI should not replace your relationships. It should not replace your vision. It should not replace your creativity. But what it should do is it should replace repetitive tasks, the stuff draining your energy, which parlays you right into what I call the 3D framework, right? This is how you find your first AI win. Number one, think about the dreaded tasks, the stuff you procrastinate doing because it's annoying, right? Invoices, scheduling, follow-up emails, right? Second, drained creativity. You know you need content in today's world, but your brain is exhausted. And third, data blindness. You have information, but no time to really interpret it. This framework, this framework matters because most people approach AI backwards. They ask, what can AI do? That's kind of the wrong question. The better question is, what is draining me? Right? Now, let's make this practical because theory is cool, but stories stick. And every single story I'm about to show you is really about one thing: a person getting part of their life back, right? So let's talk about my guy, Dave. Dave is a plumber in Dallas. Great plumber. Terrible paperwork enthusiast. At the end of the day, he still had 90 minutes of admin work to do. Now imagine this. You've already worked a physical job all day, and now you still have paperwork waiting on you. That can be brutal. So here's what Dave did. Dave started voice recording the notes after the job, and then he dropped them into Chat GPT and let AI handle the formatting, the follow-ups, the customer emails. We still get the same Dave, same great plumber, same great business, different workload. And you can see that's power already, right? Let's look at Priya. Priya had 3 years of spreadsheet data, 3 years, but no time to really dig through it, right? And that's all of us, that's common. Small businesses are sitting on gold mines of information, but nobody has the time to really dig through it, cross-reference it, crunch the numbers. So what she did, she used Claude AI, like a sales analyst. And suddenly patterns appeared, bestsellers, seasonal trends, weak inventory categories, where she's leaving money on the table. And for the first time, right, her decisions become data driven instead of stress driven or just guessing, right? Then we have Carlos, right? Carlos wakes up every morning at 4 a.m. to bake. Now, let me ask you, after waking up at 4 in the morning, how creative do you really think? How creative would you feel? It's 8 a.m., you're trying to write Instagram captions, right? Probably not the greatest. So his social media disappeared, not because he was lazy, because he's exhausted. Now every morning he uploads a photo of him, right, doing his thing. He uploads it to Grok. The AI drafts the captions, drafts the hashtags, the posting times. Now suddenly he shows up consistently online on his IG. Consistency builds the trust he needs. Trust brings those customers in. Now we have Tanya, right? Tanya kept answering the same customer questions over and over and over again. And this is important. A lot of us, we think customer service means answering everything personally. That's not necessarily true. Good customer service means customers get answers quickly. So Tanya installed an AI chat agent. Now the repetitive questions are handled automatically in her tone and her cadence, just like her. And Tanya, she gets her time back for actual customers, for the real stuff, right? Now, this here, it seems basic, but this slide might be the most important slide today because you stay at the center at all times. AI handles the repeatable stuff. You own the irreplaceable stuff, your relationships, creativity, vision, expertise. Technology should amplify who you are. It shouldn't erase it, right? Now, this is where people get intimidated, right? Prompt engineering. It sounds technical, right? But honestly, it's just learning how to communicate clearly. That's really it. Bad instructions create bad results. Bad data in, bad data out. Clear instructions create useful results. And once you understand this, I mean, the whole thing changes, right? A good a good prompt has four parts, right? It has a role, task, context, format, right? First, you have the role. What should the AI be? Then you have task. What do you want done? Then you have context. What background matters? And then format. What should it respond? The better your instructions, the better your outcomes. This is true for humans too, by the way, right? Now, in this slide, this explains why some people think AI is useless because they ask vague questions. Help me write, help me with marketing. What does that even mean, right? AI can't read your mind, and you can't assume. But look at the specific example: business type, budget, location, goal. Now suddenly the outcome becomes useful. Specificity is really your leverage, right? Now, these are the 5 rules I want you to remember. AI, give AI a role, be specific, specificity, right? Specific format, set the tone, iterate, right? If it doesn't give it back, do it again, iterate. And this last one matters probably the most, right? To iterate. Your first prompt does not need to be perfect. Most people quit way, way too early. And you got to treat AI like a conversation, not like a vending machine. It's a conversation that's ongoing. Now, this one right here, this slide alone can save some of you probably hours every week. Social posts, customer emails, review replies, pricing help, phone scripts. And here's what I want you to notice. These prompts are super simple. You do not need to become a programmer. You just need the clarity. But if you take these and add more details about who you are, they become even more effective. So uh, this is where most workshops kind of fail. Too much information, uh, too many tools, too much complexity. So uh, let me simplify this completely. Uh, do not leave here trying to revolutionize your business. Uh, just remove one hat. That's it. Just one hat. One painful, annoying task. One source of friction. Uh, something that's draining your energy all the time. Um, Now, here are some tools worth exploring. Right, Chat GPT for writing and brainstorming. Um, Claude, which is one of my favorites, for analysis. I would say Claude is top of my list right now in terms of uh, giving it great information and getting great information back. Your Chat GPT, I'm unfortunately, Chat GPT might be the not the smartest LLM in the room when you put it up against the rest of them. For your low end tasks, Chat GPT is going to be good. For high end tasks, Claude, Grok is kind of in the middle. Um, Grok is, you could definitely use it for social content. Outer is more for meetings. TDO definitely for a chat agent. Um, if any when you those repetitive questions I was talking about. Um, and then you have Zapier. Zapier is definitely a favorite of mine for low end tasks, emails, anything where you want to automate redundancy. But please, hear me carefully. Do not sign up for all of these tonight. That's how overwhelming things starts. We want to just do one tool, one problem, one win. You know what I mean? So when you leave here today, uh, I want you to do 3 things. Uh, Number one, pick one hat. Number two, create one free account. And number three, try one prompt this week. Not next month, not when things slow down. I want you to try to do this week because momentum matters. right? And I want to go into more of a live kind of session. I know presentations are great, but we're going to do a little live prompting engineering uh, just to keep this going here. Let's see here. I can pull something up. I want to address a few things. You have your chat GPT, um, but I want to show you guys something that's important. Where I see people getting lost in the basics. I think out of all the tools that I've mentioned, chat GPT is probably the most common, the most understood. Uh, we all have been bombarded with the chat GPT. So we'll just address this one alone. This one alone can help save a lot of time. Um, when I'm talking about specificity, um, without going too deep, everything is a conversation. So if you think about how you talk to someone, um, think about let's see if I can find one real quick. That's worth the presentation. Let's look at this one. Just pick one. Now I'm an automation engineer by trade, so I definitely all my stuff is going to be code related. Um, but in this example, I just want to show off the idea of a conversation. Um, and that I've asked it a question, I've given it context to what my problem is, and my instruction is kind of at the end. I've given it context, what I want, what type of tone I need, and at the end, I've kind of given it what I'm asking for. Now, it gives me back a response, and I may or may not have used this. I probably did use it. Um, and it'll give me back, you know, whatever it gave me back. And then here I got an error. I used the code and then I got an error. So I gave the error back. And this isn't the example of the conversation because it gave me this code. It still remembers the conversation. So when I give it the error, it's able to analyze the error against the code that it gave me and it tries to figure it out. It gives me back some more code and it gives me actually an option of A and B, tells me what to do, gives me instructions on what to get done. And then and in this case, right, it's giving me all these things to change, right? But and that's great. That's great. But I don't want to take the time to try to go back through the code and figure out every piece to change that it's telling me. So I just asked it, why don't you give me back the updated file? So then it'll take some time. And because it's the conversation, it goes back through it. It knows what updates it's giving me, and it's able to crank out let's see, did I scroll too far? It gives me the final output. So yeah, this is the final. So this is the final file. And I'm able to take this, copy it, paste it, use it however I need it. Um, but that's just an example of conversation. And you can keep asking it questions. It's not just exchange, fair exchange. It's a ongoing thing. And this conversation can go on for as long as you want it to, until you get to the right answer or get to what you're looking for. Um, I use this a lot in a lot of different ways, but I'll talk about another one, which is projects. I see this being where people get lost in how to use Chat GPT effectively, uh, is in projects. So in projects, it's more than a conversation. It's almost like, you know, you and said expert are going to get into a room and only talk about one subject all the time. So let's see. These are all the different projects I've played around. These are very old, but let's look at one like for sales. So, well, that one doesn't have a lot. Hold on. Let's look for something that has something. Uh, I have a creative director. So this is my creative director. So I've given it specific instructions that when we have a conversation to only talk to me as the creative director. So in that case, I've given it project settings. In this case, this is a very drawn out instruction where I've given it role. I've given it a lot of details on who the company is, how the company operates, what I expect from it. This is the creative director that I would have hired uh, in a perfect scenario. These are the all the instructions. Um, so I've given it clear definition, and in this case, the conversations we're talking about text to image prompts. In this case, I'm trying to create text to image prompts to create images, I'm getting brain fogged. I don't have time to think of this stuff, so I gave it context. I needed to give me some text to prompt feedback, and it's able to crank this stuff out in the right tone. It knows what the business is. It's not willy nilly. It's the guardrails are up, so it's giving me very useful information. Um, and then I can take this prompt. Uh, I'm at this very moment, as of this presentation, I'm definitely a heavy Gemini fan. So I may take this prompt from Chat GPT and I'll go over to Gemini, and then I'll tell it to create the image, and I'll paste that prompt in there and I'll let it go. And this is where you're saving time in terms of if you had to figure this stuff out, if you're trying to make a social media post and you need an image that's relevant to what you're doing, but you don't have time to dig through photos or figure out photos or call photographers to get what you need or find an artist to create the artwork and things like that. This is where this chat, AI can, speed you up, make you more efficient, uh, and cut out the waste, whether it be your paralysis of analysis or budget, trying to find 3 or 4 experts that you once would have tried to hire months ago. But now you can use AI to leverage some of that to make yourself more efficient, make the business move faster. So in this case, I was trying to create some artwork. Um, I needed a specific type of artwork. I wanted it to be flat. I wanted it to be 2D. The instructions are all in here, and it gives me what I need. So another one is Claude. Claude is definitely my favorite. Let's look at Claude. Claude is good for the same way we did with this, where we have projects. Claude is just, it's the same thing in terms of Chat GPT, what it gives you. It gives you the ability to conversate, it gives you the ability to have projects, and it has some this other stuff in terms of searching for chat. You're just searching what you've already said. Libraries, apps, codecs. This goes a little further than the scope of what we're talking about in terms of just making yourself efficient, projects and conversations. Claude has the exact same thing. The only difference is that Claude is just a little smarter. That's how it feels. If I'm being transparent, Claude just feels like a little smarter, and that's weird because they're both AI, they're both computers, they're both super intelligent. But it seems like Claude seems to pay attention. So the only it has its it can't create images for me like Gemini. It can give me, one for one would be if I gave it this same prompt here, it'd probably give me a little better text to image prompts. If I wanted to write an email and I really wanted it to be authentic, sound authentic, Claude may give me a little better of a response. When it comes to reports, crunching numbers, um, definitely writing code. If you're into that, like I said, I'm an automation engineer. I definitely lean on the code side of it. So in here, I've got a few projects just to show you what type of stuff I talk about. This is my let's see. I've given it instruction here, and you can see these instructions. Well, these are called like contracts, and you may wonder where I come up with that, right? I'll go right over to Chat GPT, and let's just say I need a social media. I need someone to help me with my social media. So I need a social media expert. And if I want to get real super nerdy with it, I'll go to Gemini. I'll even go to there's two versions of Gemini. You have your kind of your regular AI mode, which is kind of the search, and then you have Gemini itself, which is more like a Chat GPT, minus the projects, right? So there's a distinguish there. So with just using basic AI mode, I'll ask Chat GPT to define the expert I need for running uh, social media for real estate, right? And it'll kind of define the job rec. It'll give me, okay, I need a real estate social media specialist. Great. So I'll take that, I'll copy that, I'll go back to Chat GPT and I'll tell Chat GPT, look, I need um, write the project instructions for uh, and I know I want to use Claude. So I'm going to say for a Claude project, LLM. LLM just stands for large language model. I want you to write a Claude large language model project instructions for a real estate specialist. So I'm asking ChatGPT to give me what it needs. So and it'll crank out a beautiful instruction guide for a project that I'm going to use to run my social media. So here it's giving me all the instructions that I'm going to give to Claude. And the more specific I give, the more specific I am to the type of real estate business I run. Am I in Kentucky? Am I in Cincinnati? At which state am I in? What's the name of my business? Uh, am I residential? Do I do commercial? What type of, the more specificity I give this, it'll give me back the instructions in greater specificity. So when I take this, I'm going to take this here uh, from about right there. I don't need all that top stuff. I'm going to take it to the bottom, all the way to about right there. And I'll take it to Claude and I'll go back over here to projects. So we're just going to create a new, this is my, what do we call it? We call it a real estate social media specialist. So that's what we're going to call it. Uh, we don't really need to give it great detail here. I could give it a little bit more detail here, but that's not really too important. The instructions is where it's key. So I've added instructions. I know I got my instructions over here. I'm going to copy that, come over here, paste it, and we're done. So now at this point, I have, I have, I've just hired a real estate social media specialist. Perfect. They don't sleep. They know everything about my business, and they don't ask any questions. So when I say today, give me a list of post titles for the month of June. And it, because I've given it instruction, it knows that this conversation that we're about to have is all going to be about social media. It's all going to be about post titles. I could have went in depth and said IG, TikTok, it's in LinkedIn, so on and so forth. But it's going to go ahead and it's going to go through things. This is another reason why I like Claude. It asks questions. So, who is this content for? ChatGPT wouldn't ask me this question. And what is it? What is it trying to do? It's trying to get specificity. So I'm going to say luxury specialist. It asks me what platform I want. ChatGPT wouldn't do this. So I know I'm probably going to do Facebook. Um, what area? Uh, I'm currently in Dallas, so I'm going to say Texas. So it asked that Q&A, and because of that, it's giving me much sharper answers. So like Dave or like any of those examples, I've been working all day. I don't have time to think of this stuff, but I need it to be good because we're fighting in a just the social media slop. So I need this to be strong. I need it to be specific. I need it to be targeted at my target market. It can't be vague. So without even going through this, I know that it's giving me a very solid start. If it's not the right answer, it's very close. I see that it's giving me titles, it's giving me the dates, it's giving me the kind of the target market. So this is where Claude stands out, and I can go on and on about this. Anything that your said professional would be, that's what you would set up in Claude or Chat GPT. One more before we leave. I was going to show you. So that's my social media specialist, right? So then let's say I need an image. I was showing you Gemini, but if you want to take it one step further, you can go to Google Flow. Google Flow is the nano banana. So that's their image generation side of it. And they're changing this all the time. But basically, what you'll do is this kind of acts as your graphic designer, your layout artist, anything media. In this case, I needed a video for a shipping company, and I needed it to be specific. I needed it to be kind of at dusk. I needed the trucks to be white. I needed there to be two of them. And so by giving it the prompts, it was able to create these videos for me, fairly quickly. And I'm able to download these and do what I need to do. And so this area acts as a place to create images. These are images I was creating for a different presentation, and I don't have time to, even though I'm a graphic designer by trade. I do that stuff, but I don't have time to crank out so many slides in such a short period of time with such accuracy. And so, in this same case, I'm giving it a prompt. Um, I've given it a prompt the same way that I gave it a prompt over here. I'm just in a different area. So this is Google's kind of nano banana and image gen kind of put together. You can do some really cool stuff over here in terms of sketching things together, etching things together, creating total product. Um, and I know we're running short on time. One last thing I'm going to show you real quick is let's say I have the social media specialist. Let's just keep with that. And we know that we want to create a marketing funnel from the social media post. So I'm going to ask it to create the landing page for a funnel, for a top of funnel uh, real estate landing page. Let's just crank this out real quick. Create a top of funnel landing page for my residential and the Kentucky area. All right. This is where Claude stands out. Claude will create the HTML that you need. Now, will ChatGPT do this? Yeah, it'll do it. Will Grok do it? Here we go again. It's asking me questions. I love this. First time home buyers. Let's just use the first ones. Warm welcome. Great. So it's acted as my professional, and it's going to crank me out a great landing page. I don't have to think about it. If I had have given the project my logo, my color scheme, my mission statement, more specificity, the better the landing page, the more accurate the landing page. This is where this changes the game. Where you would have once went out and purchased templates and purchased expertise and opinions of what might work. AI gives you a very specific answer that's very specific to you. And so it doesn't take too long. I'm hoping it doesn't take. Oh, here we go. Boom. It starts cranking out a page. Now, it's going to give me a simple one. I didn't tell it VSO. But just as the point is that it's cranking out this page that I needed, that I didn't have time to make. And the more specific I am about who I'm talking to, what I'm about, like it's giving me reviews. If I had have given it, my Google business profile, it would have pulled from there. If I had have given it documentation on my business, it would have pulled from there. And it's already thinking about today, 2026, residential buyers in the Kentucky area. What are they thinking? The market now. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What are we at? Inflation rates. It's considering these things in real time, where the person you would have hired, you may have had to remind them of that. Or maybe you wouldn't have thought of that. Or maybe they didn't know about that. But this person, this AI, this LLM becomes a kind of a perfect employee to replace or to give you that edge, to give you, not to replace anyone, but to kind of be an extension of you, because this is still your vision, still your creativity. All these things are still you. This is stuff you would have done, but you didn't have time to do it. And we need it done today. So, you know, hiring somebody like me to do a landing page like this, sure, it might have taken 24, 48 hours to do it and get it back to you, to get it for review and blah, blah, blah. This did it in 4 minutes. And let's say I don't like it, maybe I don't like that color scheme. I can say one more time here before we leave. My colors are blue, shades of blue. Corporate. And this is an example of iteration. It gave me an answer and it was pretty solid, but it wasn't right. So there's no fear in asking it to change it. It's not like an employee who's gonna, I'm asking you to stay late. You did this, you worked all day on this landing page, but it's wrong. I need you to make it blue. And they're like, I gotta get home. I got stuff to do. And you don't want to burden them but you really needed that landing page today, and you needed it to be blue. And Chat GPT, LLMs in general aren't going to talk back. They're not going to be mad at you. They can go as long as you can go. So I need it to be blue. It's going to give it to me in blue. So you can see it's already thinking through it, and it's going to crank out a blue landing page. And just like that, there we go. And if I needed to add in my logo, I could upload my logo, and it could do that as well. So as we let it go ahead and finish here. So with that said, I don't want to keep you guys any longer. That's pretty much the end of this presentation. So like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to Capital Ventures.
Steve,
Yeah.
we actually did have a couple questions in the chat here. I did realize they could do that. One of them that was really good, asking about the costs of these types of tools. Can you break down? I know it varies by tool, but can you give a quick overview of costs for them?
Yes.
Okay.
So for your Chat GPT, I definitely encourage their $20 plan. I wouldn't go any higher than that. As I try to get to billing here. Let's see what we got going here. Please upgrade the plan. Right. So this $20 plan, that's probably about as far as I go with it. I don't need more on average. You don't necessarily need to go that far. The free version is just a taste tester. It's not as strong as the paid version. Same with Claude. I believe they got 17 out, but still, Pro is all you really need. When you get into Max, you're talking about high velocity asks. So if you're asking any LLM, if you're asking it to do something for you every minute on the minute, you're burning up tokens. And these tokens, you're allotted as so many tokens in these plans. So for a Claude example, I don't know what the token count is, but every 5 hours, you have a 5 hour token max. So every 5 hours, if you're asking too much stuff, it'll slow you down and tell you you need to wait until 3:30 before we can start up again. And to get beyond that, I would need to go to a max plan where I'm asking it to generate more at a higher capacity. I've only hit that once or twice where I'm trying to create a lot of code, a lot of layouts, a lot of stuff all at once. And it's like, hey, slow down a little bit. And that just tells me I need to take a break. So I'll just take a break for a few hours, come back, and it's right back where it needs to be. So on average, flow is I use flow specifically for images because if you see down here, you've got I can change this from image to video, and you'll see down here it's talking about credits. So if I ask it to make a video, you can see the credits change to 40. So I would need to fund this by 40. I don't know let's see what 40 looks like. It's not even telling me, but whatever 40 credits looks like. But you'll notice if I say an image, it's 0. So I can crank out as many images as I need. So this used to be my Grok. Grok used to be my go-to for images. And then they changed their plan, and now they charge you for this. I'm a big fan of Grok, and I don't know if I am or not, but if I'm not, I'm gonna end up giving them their $20. So let's see what theirs is. They've got 10, but they've got let's see. It was 10, so I guess they just changed it. So it was 20, but now it's down to 10. I'm gonna pay for this. What this gives me, it gives me the Grok, but I leverage Grok specifically for images. Grok is, when I talked about who's smarter in the room, Grok is the type of employee who gets you the granular details. So if you're a numbers person, you want numbers really, you want finite details and you want where did the information come from, the reference, Grok is your LLM. Grok will give you great detail for the price. So
We have another question in here that says, what are the privacy or proprietary information concerns should users have when using these types of AIs? Do you have any thoughts on that?
that's a good question. I haven't worked on projects where privacy was a great concern. So I use hosted solutions. All these things that I'm showing you are hosted solutions. In a more enterprise setting, where proprietary things matter, privacy matters. I'm thinking about Toyota specifically. They needed to host their versions of ChatGPT uh, to put on a layer of privacy. So when I'm out here and I'm just willy-nilly making prompts, can other people intercept this? Yes. Uh, am I concerned about it? No, because I'm not working on anything that is of great, but it's so specific to me that if you need to copy this, you need to be me or you're trying to be someone like me. So I don't necessarily get into that with these smaller projects, but if you get into something much more proprietary, maybe you have an idea, you've got something that's very authentic and you want to interact with these LLMs in a private setting, I would say to host it, use something like an AWS, and just treat it like an enterprise setting and act accordingly like there. The subscriptions will still matter. You'll still need to install it. AWS probably installs it for you. And then you're in a private setting. So now all your conversations are private to you, private what you do, images you create. No one can see it. Like these projects here are not 100% private. I'd have to check the settings on how private they are, but I just don't. Personally, I don't worry about that. Only when I work with larger enterprises does that become a thing.
Perfect. Well, I don't see any more questions in the chat. If anyone wants to, we can give it another minute or two and see if anyone has anything else. Steve, did you have anything else you needed to cover on this one?
Nope. I would say go for it. Don't be scared. Um, fail fast. Keep trying. Don't be scared of AI. You'd be surprised. It'd make you pretty sharp. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. And if you have any other questions, Community Ventures in Kentucky is the one that's helping us put on this show today. So if you have any questions, reach out to them directly. And we will have these slides that we will send through to Community Ventures along with this recording if you guys want to watch it in the future. So thank you everyone and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Steve.
Bye.
Bye.